think is simple but gets away from people is really truly finding your niche and sticking with it. Funneling down to what your specialties are, what makes you different. Some of the things that I really try to focus on are the type of environment I have. So whether you're a forest school or a micro school or a play-based school, what is your philosophy? Are you Montessori? Are you Reggio? Are you religious? Are you secular? All of those things that go into what makes your facility, your home, however you're branding yourself, what makes you different from everybody else in your market, especially if you're in a saturated area where there are a lot of preschools or a lot of daycares that say they're preschool. One of the things I focus on a lot is also knowing your audience, which comes with your niche, right? If you know you're part-time, if you're in a certain area of town, making sure that you're targeting those types of groups by what events you're marketing at, what you're putting as your hashtags when you put a post online. Are you looking to get people to pay attention to your business page, or do you want people to pay attention to your personality and what you have going on your personal profile and sharing that way? I've actually gotten a lot more success by sharing my business page through my personal page and like funneling people through rather than direct traffic to my Facebook business page. So it's knowing the people that you're connected to and what they're going to grasp onto better. And unfortunately, that just comes with knowing them and paying attention to what is or isn't getting noticed by the people in your circle. Another thing that helped me find my niche is honestly just different personality traits. I struggled a really long time with thinking I had to be Mary Poppins and do things a certain way. As I've evolved in my own business versus previously working in corporate settings, I've realized it is my silly shoes that I wear that have Dr. Seuss on them. It is my rainbow glasses. It's that they know I'm wearing comfortable things that I can sit on the floor with them and move around. Not that I necessarily look like a business person. And when the kids come and they feel that like inviting energy based on how you look, which sounds so surface level, but it is important, those parents immediately have a way to be like, oh, okay, well they're drawn to her. So obviously we feel like she's a safe person. She's gonna give them what they need and take care of them, and kind of opens that door for them to be more receptive of you answering their questions, because you've already shown them like, hey, it's just some silly Dr. Seuss shoes, but it got your kiddo to go, I know Cat in the Hat, right? And it automatically just gives you something to connect with that child on. Buy the silly shirts, make the silly shirts, do the little things. You know, I, believe it or not, am not a dress up person. I don't dress up for pajama day. I don't do, backwards day, all of those things. But I have the shirts. I actually have one that I had made where it says save the chubby unicorns and has a rhinoceros on it, because we were doing a safari unit and one of my kids didn't know the name, and I said, what is this? And they said, it's a chubby unicorn! And so obviously that went into like my report, and the parents talked about it, and then it like became its own inside joke for our school. So I was like, I'm just gonna hot iron this t-shirt and see what happens. They all wanted a t-shirt, and now it's like this thing at our school. So don't be afraid to do a little bit of the silly, even if you're not the silly person. A little bit can go a long way, and then those are the stories that they tell their mom friends in the groups, that they share at church, that they tell so-and-so at the potluck or the t-ball game, and things that stick out to them to help other people widen your web. This also brings up, sorry, I'm big on my notes. ADD. puppets, nature, bring all those things. I know a couple people have their puppet friends. I think, Paula, do you have one? An eagle? Is that? Yep. Someone, I don't remember who used to have a hedgehog. There's different. Yes, yeah. Be creative with it, but also make it authentic. Don't create something and then not be into it, because they can read that as well. Who, just based off of that, does anybody have their own type of things that they put into their niche that they feel have helped them? Or ideas that you've been thinking of doing but you're just a little on edge?
I wear red, white, and blue almost everywhere.
Okay, so that's something that everyone's gonna notice, like, oh, she's the teacher that's always in red, white, and blue. Awesome. Anybody else?
We do a lot of messy play. Usually the kids are very like, well, I'm not allowed to make a mess. Oh, my mom will get mad. I'm like, you're not at your house. Like, we play with a lot of messy stuff, and we love that they can make a mess, because usually it's more contained when they're in vertical settings.
Absolutely. That is something that those parents then are going, I mean, I've had parents come to me and go, I'm just so thankful they can get that out here and not, I have moms that are anti-sensory and they're like, I just can't touch the slime, I can't, and then they see that we get to do it at school and they're like, thank you for giving them that outlet, because I just can't handle it, but I know they want to do it so bad. Paying attention to those things so that you can incorporate them into what you're working on with the kids. Anybody else?
I allow children to use things in different ways. So, like if they wanna use their butts to go down on the scooter, down the driveway, they're allowed to do that, or, if they want to put the coins from the cash register in the Play-Doh, then why not?
Go for it. Awesome. The next thing that I have used a lot is utilizing your pre-made marketing. So where we have the fantastic flyers and the postcards and everything that's pre-made that we get in our Preschool in a Box from Joy. It's not just using them and editing them to fit our company name and our city and our phone number. It's getting used to Canva, playing around in there, utilizing the branding tools. One of my favorite things is just loading up one of the flyers that we have access to, and there's actually, in the branding tab on the left, you can set your company colors, you can upload your logo, and I'll just pull something up and be like, okay, this is what I need to make. I'll just hit that shuffle button on the color code until it makes me a flyer, the colors that work, and that helps personalize also, because then, if you're the Paula with the red, white, and blue, or I have like a pink, corn yellow, and like dusty blue, like it's automatically, you don't have to sit and change every little thing. You hit the shuffle button and it just changes the whole flyer to whatever your branding colors are, and then you just drag and drop your logo in and you're done. But those are marketing tools that are gonna speak to people, they're gonna hit well, and they're proven to work. So number one, using those things and catering them to your brand within is a huge, easy win. And that applies too to like the 365 posts and anything that you may be doing along that. Like, don't just take it and share it. Put your logo on it, which we have in the trainings, but it's so easy to just be going really fast and be like, oh, I scheduled it, I'm done. No, take the 30 seconds, drop your logo in there, change the color. It's a 2-button thing. You don't have to make it hard. Who has anything that they've done along those lines, or has questions about Canva or anything with our flyers and things we already have access to in our Preschool in a Box versus Canva? Anybody? Anything you want to share that you've experienced or learned in Canva that's helpful?
Just to kind of go along with what you were saying, I noticed when I uploaded my logo to Canva, it goes ahead and gives me an option to just change it to my logo colors.
That's awesome.
So that was helpful.
Yeah, Canva's really, really great. If you don't have the pro version yet,
You should.
do it. It is worth the, I think, $12 a month. It's absolutely worth it.
You can get it for free as an educator. You have to create a card.
I didn't know that.
You can do it a
Okay.
certain way.
Yeah, because I tried
tips later, cause I wanna know.
That
I think it's also good to, on Facebook, you can actually add yourself into like Canva groups.
Yes.
That will teach you how to do more stuff on
Yes,
Canva.
yes.
Which I
And-
did a lot of my learning that way from people like giving the breakdown in those kind of groups and showing their before and afters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the groups and the how-to videos, I know they just did what they branded as a glow up. And so getting in, I know that the like pre-whatever for that is over, but you can, I know you can still go in and watch the video about how to integrate the new aspects. It's a lot of AI stuff, a lot of, background type things as far as I understand. I haven't gotten too into that. I'll be real, I love Canva, but I don't dive too far deep. I do what I need to do, I make it efficient, and then I move on to the next task. Because as much as I think marketing is a valuable thing to be doing, and it is an income producing activity, it's kind of set it and forget it, as long as you get it out there. There's the follow-up and all of the other things that go along with it that I prefer to give my attention to. Another thing that I really have found useful is not just promoting my company on my page, but sharing incredible resources on my business page. So things like the OT Toolbox, Parenting Magazine, different highly coveted, the CDC, if they put out something about developmental milestones. Yes, we have blueprints and templates of those things to share, but if we can share them directly from that credible sources page, I have found people kind of perk up a little bit and they go, oh, like they follow that, and then it makes us seem more credible. It makes us seem more into those concepts for the families rather than us just making things up out of thin air. Then they're not so much pushback on, well, where did you hear that? How did you learn that? And you can simply say, well, if you follow our Facebook page, you'll see we're linked with a lot of large organizations, government organizations, and that we follow along with everything they're recommending. And they kind of go, oh, okay. Does anybody have any suggestions of pages that you might follow or that you've shared before, whether personal or business, that you feel like other people maybe should add or pay attention to? For instance, one of my big ones is called the OT Toolbox. Add it, write it down, do it now. Does anybody else have any places that they have recommended or have looked into for their families or to share?
I usually try to share things that are related to my niche, so like life-based things, so if I find out a good quote or,
Yeah.
something that's that, you know, the benefits for whatever, why children should play, or whatever, I try to say, share those on my business page, so
Yeah.
that relates to what I do.
Yes.
So, to educate
Who,
parents.
that just reminded me, who follows Listen to the Children and knows who Danita is, right? If you don't, get on it. Listen to the Children. It's a very wonderful lady, Danita, her last name is escaping me right now. But she is 100% play-based and basically just runs this, like, I call it a feral play school. There's no lesson plan, but the kids all come in and they know that they can trust the environment. They're allowed to have access to whatever materials they need. I mean, I'm talking 3-year-olds just being let loose with a glue gun. But because of the way
Ladders.
she's created this environment, she can sit and watch and trust their belief in themselves to do things the right way and step in to offer some scaffolding when needed. But yeah, it just reminded me of Danita, and I was like, yes. Anybody else have any of those types of things that they have shared before or find value in, even on your personal page, that maybe now you're going, oh, why haven't I shared that on my business page? No? Well, think about it. Yeah.
Tara West she has like thousands of freebies from ABCs all the way up, and just, I mean, anything you could possibly want, working on strokes or
Yeah.
anything. So Tara West, and get on her Facebook page or sign up for her newsletter.
whether you think about it or not, at the end of the day, when you're scrolling and you see something that piques your interest, most of the time, the people in your niche that you're marketing towards, they're also going to look at that content and see it. But if you're the one sharing it, it adds credibility to what you're selling. And again, these are all free things so far, other than like a Canva membership, which you can now get for free. The next thing that I have just kind of follows up with more free marketing. I know I've said this before, just in general, like Q&A or showing up on previous like Motivation Mondays, but free word of mouth marketing is the best thing you can get, and the best way to get that is consistency. It's a word I personally kind of go ugh to, because I'm a grown up and I'm like, yes, I know, and I don't always want to do it, but it is true. And I've seen in my own seasons where when I am very consistent, even if it's 5-10 minutes a day, or I schedule 2 days a week and I'm there and I'm gonna do my marketing on those 2 days, whatever it is, I see the traction. It takes a minute, but I get there. When I stop, so does the traction, so do the phone calls, so do the inquiries, so do the comments on my Facebook. So really just showing up and being consistent. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going out every day and posting flyers, or you're making sure that you're hitting every single person who has shared your post, but going in and hitting the like button when a parent leaves a comment on your 365 post or something that you've shared. And you don't even necessarily have to comment back, but just interact with them one way or another to show that you're paying attention and that you value that they are receiving the information. Another thing I really like to do along with that, a lot of this is Facebook marketing, right? Like social media is how you really get your brand out there these days, if you don't want to be literally hitting the pavement with your feet every day. How do you do that when you're only one person? Get your people to help. You know, if you make a post, one of the things I did when I was moving buildings in January was I told my 4 parents, hey, every time you share one of the things I post, even if I posted it a year ago, if you share it or you tell a mom about it in a mom's group and I see it, or you screenshot it to me, I'm gonna put a thing in the drawing, and when we move in January, I'll pick a name and you'll get a free week tuition. Encourage the people that are there to help with that traction when you don't feel like you're getting it organically yourself. And be creative, make it fun. You know, I know people have done gift basket raffles or different lottery systems and things like that. I'm not good at that stuff, but what I am good at is saying like, hey, if you scratch my back a little bit, I'll scratch your back. And it works really, really well. As well as if you don't have a referral system for your families, start one. Every time I have a tour come, if they say another parent referred them, just for them coming for the tour, it's a $10 credit on their tuition. If they enroll, they get $50 off the next month. Get creative with it. Does anybody have any ideas that they've utilized in that type of avenue that they have seen work for them? Or do you maybe have an idea that you want to do and you're just a little nervous?
So I have recently started engaging in my town's Facebook page.
Yeah.
As my preschool, and as I'm always commenting as myself.
Yeah.
My preschool too, so that they're like, who's this preschool commenting on, you know, stuff happening. I want them to see that I'm involved in other things besides just preschool, and just talk to their mind, and I share their posts too, so that, you know,
That's awesome.
see.
Yes, and that leads right into, I was gonna say, if you're not, you know, I know there's a lot of people that are nervous about posting in mom groups or babysitting groups and all of these different things, because you don't wanna get red flagged, you don't wanna have it taken down for being too salesy or trying to pitch something. Something that I've done is, I've added myself to every group I could possibly add myself to. I don't care if it's a babysitting group, I don't care if it's a to in Facebook mom groups. But point being, pay attention, because even if they have a rule that says you're not allowed to like sell stuff, a lot of them do have a day of the week where you can share your company, or a day of the month you can share your company, or a thread that you can add your link on once every so often. I've actually gone into my calendar and I put what day and when certain groups allow me to do certain things, and it doesn't matter how busy I am. If it's Monday, you bet your bottom I'm gonna post in those 3 mom groups that let me make my own post with my own flyer that's not attached to anything, and I usually get 1 or 2 inquiries at least every week just from that. They don't always turn around because it might not be a match. Mostly looking for full-time and part-time, those types of things, but it's still people learning who you are, learning what you do, and sharing with their friends when their friends go, hey, I just want like a 3-hour-a-day preschool.
I tried to post in my neighborhood community, not next door, but another, Facebook community, and I was told it was self-promoting, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
So is there a way around that? Because
I would say, I would go back to them and say, hey, I saw that you took this down because it's self-promoting, but is there a day that we're allowed to do that, or is there a thread I need to search for in the page where I'm allowed to add my information? And then if they say no, sometimes I'm brave and sometimes I'm chicken, but I have gone back and said, well, has anyone ever thought of that? Because it's a child-based service, and I'm sure there's other neighbors who have their own small businesses, and why don't we all help each other out? And maybe that could propel something to start. You never know if you don't ask, which is one of my biggest things, is the questions you don't ask and you stay silent with will never get answered and will never help you grow. So as nervous as I always am, I'm always gonna pull myself out of my box for the sake of my dreams. Anybody else have any suggestions or ideas or anything?
I started, there's like these pages that like, everyone and their brother follows, like and I'll just post something every now and then about, there was one the other day about, mother who was struggling on a plane with her children, and somebody, offered to help with the baby, and, it's a heartfelt story, so I commented on it, and I said, I pray for opportunities to help, small, women with small children, I live for that or something like that, and I, so likes, likes.
Yeah.
And I've actually gotten a couple of new likes on my Facebook page
Exactly.
because of it, so.
Yep, that's a perfect example of just try it. The worst that can happen is crickets. The best that can happen is you get a couple likes and they go, hey, I actually really resonated with that. What's this person about? They click on your profile and then they find your business. Even if that person is not your direct market, it's still someone else growing your web off of one little gesture that you made. Anybody else before I go to the next thing? Yeah.
I partnered with the PTA, so I raffled off spaces in some of my programs before.
That's awesome.
And, I've talked to principals and they've done, distributed my flyer for free in like Friday folders and things like that, and just starting the conversation. Or if
Yeah.
you join the PTA for like $5, you get like 7% discount on marketing. So they'll
Nice.
email out your flyer to PTA members for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to look into that now. Alright, the next thing is something I like sort of invented, but probably am not the first person to do it. But I call it ghost drops. This is basically where whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm going with my family, whatever events we're at, I'm just gonna sprinkle a business card here, drop a quarter-page flyer there, leave, a sticker on someone's table, little things that if the timing works out, whoever finds it is gonna be like, huh, what's that? Oh, that looks cool, and then they might not necessarily be looking for anything like that right now, but now you're in their head. So if they do have that 2-year-old that's gonna be turning 3, and they start to look for places, and they're talking about it, Facebook and all the algorithms are gonna hear their conversations, and then your stuff is gonna start showing back up on their feed just because they liked your page 1 year ago. So it's all those little things. So I call it ghost drop because it's kind of like you're just this little ghost leaving things places. So like I said, I've done business cards, I've printed out like quarter page flyers, so like 4 flyers to a page, and just chopped them up really quick. Since preschool club started, now we have like the pull tab kind of flyers. I'll just leave the little tab. Like, I'll pre-pull that off, and I actually put like a little mini QR link on there, so then it takes to my webpage. Library books, I'll make like little bookmarks in Canva and just like shove them in random books in the kids section of the library.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, anything you can do that you feel is like creative and innovative, because even like the library books, the parents aren't the ones that are gonna find them. It's little kids. Put a little picture on there for them to color with, like just a little like princess or like a Paw Patrol or whatever, and then it's got your logo and your number, and the kids are like, look at what I found in my book, and it opens a conversation and some inquiry from the parents of like, why am I finding this in my kid's book? And then they're gonna look you up and see what it's about, and hopefully, again, right back to it, grow that web.
That's awesome.
Especially if you have a mascot, like you can also do that as a mascot
Yeah.
on your.
Yeah. Or like put your eagle on there, or whatever speaks to you and is part of that niche that you're trying to present, right?
Karen, I had him with me yesterday, cause I had him in my bag, and, I was at, lab getting some testing done. And there was a mother there who had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And she was waiting for her doctor's office to fax orders, so the kids could get work out on that. She'd been there for an hour when I showed up. Tell me, kids were done. And so I pulled out Revere. Instant happy.
Oh, I
And
love
you
that.
could just see her face was like,
That relief.
oh, it's an angel. And so I didn't have a business card, but I wrote down my website on a piece of paper. I said, hey, I run this streaming service for, she's like,
Hey.
oh gosh, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is share it organically and see if they come. And again, if not, that mom is still gonna remember you. And when someone else asks her a question, she's gonna be like, oh, I know who you need to talk to. And she's gonna pull that out of, she's gonna pull your website or your number or whatever you get out of her bag and share it. Anybody else does anybody else have any ideas for like a ghost drop?
Not necessarily those drop, but, you can make yourself a card that has just your QR code on it.
Yeah.
And so they can scan that and go to your website.
Yes. Yeah, I put a QR code on everything. I know, I'm like right in that age. I'm about to be 38. I'm right in that age where like we didn't really like have internet when we were kids, but we're also aware enough that we do all the cool stuff, and we're just starting to be like, what? Like we mostly get technology. So I have found a lot of my specific market is those moms that are like 28 to 35-ish, and so they're gonna be big on the tech stuff. So anytime you can QR code it so they can just take a picture and check it later, or hit save on the web page, good stuff. Yeah.
It's not a ghost drop, but I actually have one of those dot cards on the, and because I'm really bad about carrying business cards, and
Yeah.
apparently I don't carry a purse or anything, so where would I put it? But people can tap, or I also have a scannable one in my
Yeah.
wallet, and it brings up a page that has your website, your Facebook page, a Google review page.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they can just put their phone, that's the tricky part, is getting a sweet spot to hit the phone. But yeah, they just tap it and it brings the information over.
Yeah, it's like a digital link.
There's
Yes.
also one that's called Bling.
Yeah.
And an app that's called Bling.
Yeah, mine is, I have Popl, P-O-P-L, and you can, it's like crazy glue, I don't know, once it's on there, it's not coming off. But they have bracelets, they have keychains, all sorts of different things depending on what company you go with. But then even, if you forgot those paper ones and you're at a networking event or anything that you find yourself in just at last minute, you've got it with you no matter what.
That was actually my first thought when I didn't have anything. I'm like, man, I gotta get something.
I love
So
mine.
there is an app called Bling that you can use as well. So if you don't wanna have like something that's on your phone or whatever, there is an app that also is like a digital, business card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Beth? Yeah, and so I have the Popple strictly because like I'm an Android person. I know everyone's kind of, team one or the other. It is what it is. I struggled for a while with like, okay, well, with this I can only help this kind of person with like having something as an additive device, and like mine just sticks to my phone case, so I'm not sticking it to my phone and running my phone for resale or anything. I can share it with anybody who has like a modern cell phone.
I was just gonna say how amazing that is, like life changing, because that's dramatic, but I'm always at Chick-fil-A with my kids, and
Yeah.
they're like, do you have a business card? And I always feel like, yeah, I brought my business cards, this is why I'm here, and I know I shouldn't feel shame for that, but I
Yeah.
do, but having that on your phone, oh yeah, just take it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
The
Yeah.
other thing is you can actually, instead of just directing them to your website, you can direct them to a lead magnet, right? So like,
Yep.
a free workbook we have, it's like, hey, yeah, also I have this free workbook, here's the QR code, you can scan it.
Yeah, well, and mine is actually set up, I don't know if like Bling or Dot have the same thing, but with Popple, I actually have mine set up so that if you scan me to get my information, I'm gonna need your email. And you have to agree to automatically go into my stuff. So then if I do have, a mass email that I'm trying to get you to link to another lead magnet or something, like those are going into that file in my hub, and they're automatically all there.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
So how would I scan yours? Like, is it like camera, like QR?
No, so a lot of phones these days have the same thing an iPhone has. It's called an NFC, and it's just in a different area. So as long as you have your NFC enabled in your phone and they have their NFC enabled, it's just, you put the back of your phone to the back of their phone and boop doop doop, and it's done. And it loads easy peasy.
It's called NFC.
Yeah. And it should be in your settings on an Android. On an Apple, it's just basically like touch recognition, something. I don't know. I'm not an Apple person. Anybody else?
I can go strong, kind of bringing it back. to what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
So I've taken flyers and we have a, state fair that's pretty local to us. Like,
Yep.
There's 2 of them per state,
Okay.
each end. And so the one for my end, it's only like 30 minutes from me. And so I actually took a bunch of my flyers and just started like pinning them places throughout the whole state.
Yeah,
Or I'd go into
brilliant.
the bathroom and put it on the backside so that they're sitting on the toilet. Like,
Yes.
there's my
Yes.
flyer, cause like moms are going in there with their kids and stuff, like.
Yeah. Put it on the
so they see
changing
it.
table.
Yeah, no, I did, they were like next to a mirror, right by the
Yeah,
sink.
that's
Like,
brilliant.
I was putting them up all over in the state fair, like just, oh, well, if they take it down, I'd still have 100 more up. You know, like, so,
No, I love ours. That's awesome.
This one's only local to Arizonans, but there's a lot of us here. If you can get, certified or approved or whatever to be an ESA, vendor,
What's an ESA?
in Arizona, we've got what we call the Empowerment Scholarship Account,
Okay.
where the state will give the student a certain amount of money to spend on educational expenses throughout the year.
That's nice.
And if you are an approved vendor through ESA, then you can advertise in ESA groups.
Okay. That, yeah.
So I almost don't wanna share this little tidbit.
Oh, come on.
You don't actually have to live in the state, and there are at least 13 states so far that have scholarships for families who want to find other types of education. You can apply to be approved for parents and families in those states to go online, find you, and pay for your classes with their scholarship money.
Look at me, taking notes during my own presentation. You should never stop learning. It's like my #1 thing. Awesome. I'm gonna keep going because I'm almost out of time. The next thing I had, which I think for all of us it's kind of obvious, but funnels. Use your funnels. Revert back to your funnels. People have questions. Don't just give them straight up your website, depending on what their questions are, kind of cater to what they're looking for. Like, oh man, my kid's really struggling with writing their alphabet. I got a funnel for you. Oh man, my kid is really struggling with, you know, XYZ. I got a funnel for you. Give them something that's gonna let them see what you're offering and what you're putting out there rather than just your big long webpage. Our web pages are amazing, they're beautiful, they definitely sell well, but if you can get them locked in through using the funnel first, then you know you more than likely have that customer and they're gonna keep going along with you. And using those funnels to build your email lists for when you are putting out things. Because with those email lists, one of the things I like to do is if I make a Facebook post, especially like fall enrollment's coming up, email it out to your list too. Just because they're on Facebook doesn't mean they're gonna see it, doesn't mean they're gonna be on there, especially if they haven't interacted with your page in a while, and then it can get them introduced to your page and get them interacting again to bring your views up. Beth?
Yeah, and also you can actually send out the link to that specific Facebook post.
Yes.
And have people go there and drive the engagement to the Facebook post, which will then organically spread to Facebook.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to email out links to your actual Facebook post.
Yes, love that. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I know I've said it 20 times, but it's all about slowly and organically growing your web. And sometimes it's gonna go at hyper speed because you hit this like, you know, one of those ramps in a video game where you just like get propelled all of a sudden. Like something will happen that just, and then you'll slow down again. And that's okay. But be consistent, be creative, change it up, use a little of everything, and just keep going. The last thing that I have for y'all is something that I have found to help me grow lately, especially now that my program has changed a lot in the last 6 months, is alternative programming to draw in new clients that maybe weren't your specific market before. So obviously my main business is preschool. But since we've moved, we do different programs like Parents Night Out. We have a crafting club. I'm not in charge of it, I don't craft, we were just talking about this earlier. But my best friend Morgan is a crafter, so I'm there for moral support and to help, you know, redirect the kiddos, but she's doing the activity and in charge of all of that. I buy the supplies, supply the building, and recruit the kids. So doing different little mini clubs. Putting on a free program at the library. One of the things I like to do, I've done like 3 of them now, yeah, 3, is scheduling like a gross motor day or a story time outside of any typical programs that the library has. Usually, at least for me in Kentucky, all of our public libraries, as long as you're gonna do an event that's free for the families or whoever may be coming, you can use a meeting room or a story space for free. So you're not paying for a location, you're not paying for advertising, they'll advertise it for you on their billboards, on their Facebook. So one more thing you don't have to do, but is gonna bring those families in, you spend half an hour, 45 minutes providing an art activity, some gross motor play, a story, a scarf dance session, whatever it may be. You don't have to do all the stuff in one session, but just pick something. Make it for free, make it a family event, and then pass out that goodie bag at the end. Make sure they get your business card. Give the kids a sticker. All of those little things that are gonna make them remember you, want to come back and go, hey, what do you actually do? Because I feel like doing free stuff at the library isn't what you're not doing this just for fun. And it's gonna open that conversation and get them to come in and see what you actually are there for and what you can provide for their family. I don't know what I wrote there. I can't read my words. Oh, that's what it is. Special targets. A lot of times, I think in our marketing, it's what are you looking for? What are you it's not, hey mom, it's, hey kiddo, are you, because sometimes when you put things out in like a different frame of reference, the parent is gonna read it and go, oh my gosh, they're speaking to my kid, not me. We know the kid's not reading it, right? The parent knows the kid's not reading it, but we are talking specifically to that child and saying, does going to your big daycare make you nervous? Do you feel like you get lost? Do you feel like your voice isn't heard? Do you feel like your mom and dad don't know what you do all day? And kind of changing that viewpoint, and then going, well, then guess what we have for you? And giving them a solution to what they view as a problem, and allowing them to basically cater that narrative to what they're looking for internally, but giving them a voice for it. One of the flyers that I just started to ghost drop, I actually started putting it around like coffee shops and things at one of the Waldorf schools that I know isn't doing so good. And it was like, do you enjoy having your child in this environment, but at the end of the day they're coming home stressed, they are overwhelmed, or maybe they're a sensory seeker and they're at this program and they come home and they've been so tightly wound that they're awful at night because they're letting loose and all of these things. Well, then come check us out. We have something different. We only have small classrooms. We only have 1 to 2, ratio individual times. We cater everything. Whatever your niche is, give them that solution. Don't ask for their problem first. Show them what their problem is and how you can fix it for them. And say, come on in, let us show you how we do it. Has anybody gone outside of like their box with any of those types of ideas before, or have a fresh idea that just popped up hearing about taking a different kind of stance on, like, I guess it'd be like what hook you put out there?
I've done like Christmas parties, so in a few weeks before Christmas, I'll say drop your kids off for 3 hours, with activities, it's a party, and you can go shopping for Christmas. And I always fill up for that.
And do you send anything home with them?
Yeah.
Then?
And then, I send their craft, and then stickers, and my flyer, and all of that. And a lot of times it's the kids that are already in preschool bringing their friends, but then they might not be interested, but then, domino effect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think the one ad that I had the most traction on, where like the most people responded to it, liked it, made comments, contacted me, was just the shortest little video ever. I was sick as a dog. I had strep throat. My kid actually had it too, so he was sitting, you saw it, he was sitting in the background. And I'm like no makeup. I was very sick. And I just was like, and my voice is kind of raspy because I was sick, right? And I was just like, hey, this is moms. And then kind of zoomed in a little bit, and that was it. Like, it just, moms were like, oh,
What?
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm tired like her. I look like that at the end of the day.
Isn't that crazy though? Because you're like, I'm doing this because I feel like I have to do it, but because you were so real and raw in that moment, they resonated with it and it got their buy-in, right?
I had to
And-
force myself to do it
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing anything. There was no advertisements going on at all. And then that ended up being the biggest
Yeah.
response because moms feel that. They're
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah, exactly. Like, doing something is better than doing nothing and hemming and hawing on it. I've even done things where I'm like, why am I putting this up? This is so stupid. No, those again are the ones that get the most traction, the most likes. The moms come in the next day and be like, that was a real one. That was a good one. Great example is if you're friends with me on my personal profile, I frequently post about my son's ridiculous memory. Listen to one song and then he's at the park singing it for people and it's not a good song. No. So I think one time we were at Applebee's and he just started singing a newer Casey Musgraves song. I cannot think of what it's called right now, but it basically talks about how she transitioned from her early 20s and being like this singer-songwriter stoner to evolving and being like, I don't need those things anymore. They were holding me back. He remembered the one line that says, roll out of bed, hit my gravity bong. And he is singing it at the top of his lungs in Applebee's while we wait for our food. So, you know what? I got a good feedback from my friend moms, and I was like, you know what? I should just share this on my business page, but shared as the business, shared my personal page and said, anybody else got a kid that never fails to embarrass them? Bring them here and they can embarrass you in these confines where it doesn't go anywhere. And it was the silliest, littlest thing, but I got 4 tours scheduled from it. Like, it's those crazy random things where like, this is so dumb. They work. So when you feel like that, just go with it. Take the chance. And if it doesn't get any feedback, then you know that that's not what your market is looking for. They didn't resonate with that. Okay, don't take it down. Don't be ashamed by it. Don't let it hold you back. But just learn from it and go, okay, that didn't resonate with them. Now you know. At the end of the day, I think the biggest things are just be straightforward, be yourself, talk about your niche, and be consistent. And if all else fails, be the pizza guy.